Welcome to another S&P 500 analysis. Today is December 16, 2022. You might recall this image that I put up last week, and we basically was looking for the market to either come up to this 410 area on a positive reaction from the CPI or the FOMC announcement, or we get a negative reaction, then we'll come down and essentially try to fill this gap and work toward this October low. And as you can see, we saw price action on both directions. Initially, we got the CPI pump, and then it faded. Then we got the FOMC announcement and the press conference from Jay Powell, and then we have the dump. And now it is coming down to this gap here. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the market sentiment, the market internals, and also the price action of the S&P 500, the Dow Jones Industrial, NASDAQ 100, and also a couple of other major market indexes, along with the 10-year yield, gold, silver, and also the crude oil market and the US dollar. So stay tuned. Looking at this weekly chart of the S&P 500, we notice that there is a reversal candle here, weekly candle with a long wick, and it is a outside bar type of candle. And you can see that the range was 273 points for the week, and it lost 82 points, or slightly above 2% for the S&P 500. And it also closed below the 40-week moving average and also this 10-week moving average, as well as continue to put in a lower high, lower low pattern. And it is pulling back from this trend line. All right, looking at the sentiment chart here, you can see the VIX also came up. And here you can see that the VIX actually got as high as 25 on Monday. And got quite bullish on the put-call ratio. It's actually dropped just a little bit below 0.75 after the FOMC announcement and everything kind of settled down. We see the VIX is hovering somewhere close to 23, sitting at 22.62 as of Friday's close. And the put-call ratio is up at 1.14. So definitely the market participants are getting a little bit more fearful and getting quite bearish now. And for the up-down volume ratio, on Thursday, we have an up-down volume ratio of 6-to-1 in favor of the down volume. On Thursday, the day after the FOMC meeting and also Jay Powell's press conference, we actually see a broad market type of decline because the advanced decline on Thursday, it was close to 2,000 more declining issues than advancing issues. And also in the New York Stock Exchange, we are noticing the number of new 52-week lows start coming back up. See, on Friday, we got 181 stock make new 52-week low versus only 33 make 52-week high. And looking at the cumulative AD line for the New York Stock Exchange, it is coming down, but notice the S&P 500 on a closing basis is coming down much more rapidly than the advanced declines. And for the NASDAQ, we noticed that the NASDAQ a little bit more negative on the up-down volume ratio, but still it is not that bad. But, we did see on Thursday a broad market decline. There was more than 2,200 more declining issue than advancing issue on Thursday. Similarly to the New York Stock Exchange, we are seeing more stock making new 52-week low, and the number of stock making new 52-week high is also start to shrink a little bit. So on Friday, there were 395 more 52-week low than 52-week high. And here looking at the NASDAQ cumulative AD line, seems like that this is getting close to below this low here. So we could see a new closing low, or at least closing below this October low here. Be keeping an eye on that on the NASDAQ 100. Looking at the 10-year yield, actually the 10-year yield came down a little bit from last week, even after the latest rate hike, but it's still sitting close to this 3.5% on the 10-year. And here on the dollar, we have the bounce off of the support here near this 103.50 area. So the dollar got a little bounce off the latest FOMC announcement. And here we see crude oil pull back a little bit based on a stronger dollar. So still looking at this hovering around this 77, 75 area. So we'll see, would it be able to hold above this 70? And silver also pulled back a little bit based on a little bit of a stronger dollar. But I'm still looking at silver to possibly maybe come down and bouncing off of this 22 area here and continue to push up to this 26 area. Similarly with gold, gold is also pulled back just slightly. I'm still looking for gold to come back up and take out this 1850 area and push up to this 1900 area. Looking at this daily chart of the S&P 500, as you can see that the price came up on the CPI release and came up to this upper range of the expected move, but it did not stay above it. As a matter of fact, it faded back down. And then on Thursday, we have a continuation of the sell-off after the Jay Powell press conference. And you see that on Friday it's continued to sell off and almost came down and filled this gap here. Remember we said last week, if it could not get up above this range and get up above this zone and stay above it to possibly make a move up here to this 4200 area, then we could see it come down. And if that doesn't hold this 3906 zone, then we could see it come down and fill this gap here. So for the coming week, we will be looking at this particular range for the S&P 500. And here's what the market is pricing in for the upper range of the expected move. It's going to be between 39.50 and 39.35. And then for a lower range, it will be between 37.69.20 to 37.40. We're basically looking for a move down to this zone and finish filling this gap, and that would come down to this range here. Then depending on where we get a bounce back up and try to chop around inside of this high volume zone near the 38.50 and 38.20, and we could see it continue to move down and possibly eventually come down and test this October low. Now, if it could reverse itself and get above this range, then we want to see it come up and fill this little gap here and see could it get back into this zone here near this 4100 level. And for the NASDAQ 100, we're also looking for the NASDAQ 100 to come up above this upper range and see would it be able to get above this trend line, above this zone, and then move up toward this 12,400, 12,600 area. And as you can see, the CPI also pushes it up, but unable to close above it and pull back. And you can see that it came down. It did not fill the gap here, completely fill the gap, but you can see that it is trying to fill this gap. And so for the coming week, we are expecting the range to be somewhere in this area here, 11,610 and 11,540. That would be the upper range of the expected move. And the lower range will be between 10,944 and 10,850. So it's basically the market is pricing in a gap fill to complete the gap fill and dip below this zone here. So you can see that if it come down and fill the gap, we want to see on this range, see could we get a bounce back up and possibly get back above this 11,500. But if it is unable to hold this range, then we look for a possible move for this October low here. Then on the upside, if it could get back above the upper range and then above the zone that's 11,600, then watch for it to come up and see would it be able to reclaim this trend line here and essentially just get above the 12,200 area. And for the Russell 2000, we're saying we're going to look for to see we'll be able to get back above this 1900 area, 1905, 1920 area. But if it's unable to do that and come down and dip below this 1780, 1775 zone, then we're essentially looking for this level to get tested. And right now it came down and tested and it's close above it. So for the coming week, we'll be watching to see would it be able to continue to bounce back up to this 1786, 1775 area and see would it stay above it and try to get back toward the 1820 area. Now, if it is unable to get back above that zone and continue to break this level here, then we are looking for the October low eventually to get tested. And for the Dow Jones Transportation, we see the Dow Jones Transportation made an attempt to try to get up to this pivot high here and possibly get back into the zone. But you see that it made an effort and then pull back and dip below this zone here, this 14,200. And now it is coming down toward this 13,500 area to test this zone and possibly this trend line. So if it breaks this trend line, then we are looking for this thing to come down toward this 12,900 area or near the 13,000 and 1280, 12,800. So that would be the downside. But if it's on the upside, if it could stay above this trend line, get a bounce back up and get above this 14,200, 14,300, then we could see possibly come up to this 14,400 area and see how it could handle that resistance. And for the Dow Jones Industrial, see the Dow Jones Industrial came up and tagged this high, but unable to close above it and pull back. And right now it's dipped back down to this zone here and also fill this little gap here. So right now it's still holding above this downward trend line here. So see, would it be able to get a bounce back up next week for this 34,400 area? But if it's unable to reverse and get back up, get a bounce and come back below this trend line, then we'll look for this thing to come down first level somewhere around this 31,700 area, and then possibly got a little gap here that need to be filled, and that would be somewhere around this 31,200. So keep an eye on these levels here for the coming week on the downside, and then on the upside is basically that's 34,400. And looking at the New York Stock Exchange Composite Index, you can see that it also came up and tried to take out this high here. So right now it came up to this zone and it got rejected. And now it's back to this area here near this 15,000 area. So we'll see, would it be able to hold this support? If it could not stay above this zone here and dips down, then we'd be looking at these levels here. This 14,600 and 14,300 area. And this is basically have a little bit of a resistance support type of behavior. Those are the price scenario for the coming week. And be sure to watch my video this Sunday on the SPY, QQQ, and the IWM, where I will analyze and look at the price scenario for the coming week for all those ETF. And don't forget to smash that thumbs up to help me promote this video. Thank you for watching and stay safe.